It is an institution in the city of St. Paul. ALARY'S has been around since 1949, but they made a big change over the last couple of weeks. They added kitchen and bar to the name. It's more than just a name change. It's sort of a different approach, and I thought it was worth bringing in Bill Collins, the owner of ALARY'S, to talk a little bit about what has changed and what needed change. Bill, so good to see you.
Yeah, Jason, thanks for having me in. I really appreciate it.
I mean, ALARY'S is a walk for me and my wife. It's close to where we're living on Rice Park in downtown St. Paul, and it's been great to see it come back after it was closed. And you bought it after it closed during COVID, right?
Yeah, it actually reopened after COVID briefly, then closed it in early 2024.
And you bought it when?
February of 2024. I guess it must have closed in 23. We bought in February 24.
And it's known as a Chicago Bears bar. It's been known as a law enforcement hangout from back in the day. What, after, owning it for a bit and being in downtown St. Paul for a bit, what in your view needed to change?
Well, first of all, I've been in downtown for almost 30 years in the hospitality business. And ALARY'S has one of those iconic St. Paul names. You can say Mancini's, people know. You can say DeGidio's, people know. You can say ALARY'S, people know. You can say O'Gara's, people know. So it has that great St. Paul history. It's a name that everybody knows.
And you've been downtown for a while, but you went to St. Thomas, right? Like, you're a St. Paul guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so what a thrill for me to be able to latch into something that's got a 77-year history. And you can't be around 77 years and not do some evolving. And we saw some great opportunities with ALARY'S, and we jumped in both feet first and really looked at the building, the bones, and spent a couple years just getting a feel for what people want, what works, what doesn't. And obviously food was what was the missing piece. The building and the space has got what you need. Big, huge patio. People love to dine outside downtown. Tons of free parking, 1,000 spaces in the ramp next door that we validate. So all of the components that make a restaurant work were there. And we committed to creating a great food program, got a great chef on board, been having a ton of fun, getting great feedback from people. And the biggest challenge now is, like I talk about, you say Mancini's, you don't have to say steakhouse. Everybody knows. You say DeGidio's, everybody knows. Great Italian. You say ALARY'S and people think bar. And we need to tweak that a little to get people to think not just bar and sports, but to think great food too.
And hence putting kitchen in the name.
Absolutely.
But with, and your menu has sort of had a iteration over the time that you owned it. You had a barbecue, great barbecue truck in residence for a while.
Yep. And Mike's moved out to South St. Paul and still cranking it out, crushing it out there. Yeah.
And then you really, when you brought in this new chef, you really said, like, let's think about what downtown needs and where downtown's going too. As a more, like I said, I live there now. Like, it is trying to become more of a residential space, right?
Yeah. And, that's a great target market for bars and restaurants downtown are the locals. A lot of the other traffic is driven by events.
Right.
And
which St. Paul needs the events, right? Like the Wild brings in huge traffic.
Yep. And we're blessed. I mean,
concerts.
You've got Mears Park. You got music every Thursday night in the summer. The Yacht Club Festival, Country Club Festival are both blowing it up downtown. Farmers Market brings a ton of people in.
Yeah.
So, those things are there that are bringing people downtown, but there's also a great market of people that are living there, growing downtown population. That it's really a good market to go after.
Walleye is sort of a focus of this new menu, right?
Yeah. So Chef Javi, our executive chef, spent, I think it was 15 years at Stella. So he really knew his way around seafood. And we didn't move into the seafood right away. We started with a pretty limited menu while his staff got adjusted to our space. But I was a huge fan of Tavern on Grand. I knew Wilma way back in the day when he opened it. And when Tavern on Grand closed, it was my go-to walleye. It was everybody's go-to walleye place.
For sure.
And we saw that lane, and I mentioned it to Javi, and he is a walleye fanatic. And he certainly knows his way around seafood, and he's crushing it.
Is Alary's still going to be a sports bar? Is
Oh,
it-
yeah, no doubt. You know,
Have people asked that? They're like, wait a minute, you guys are adding walleye and a kids menu. Like, what is going on here?
yeah, it's expanding the brand for sure. But you can't walk into the space and not know it isn't a sports.
I mean, there
bar.
are TVs everywhere.
Yeah, and all the memorabilia on the wall.
Yeah.
You know, the East Metro professional teams, and then Alary's was founded by a guy who played for Chicago Bears back before the NFL and before the Super Bowl. He was a member of the World Championship team 3 times. So it's steeped in Chicago Bears history. And
Did you grow up? Are you from Chicago?
grew up in Chicago.
'Cause I know
Family
you've
were
been in
season
St.
ticket
Paul's
holders.
so long, but you're from Chicago.
Yep, I was.
Do you think of yourself as a Chicagoan or a St. Paulan?
You can't shake that, you know. But I'm definitely a St. Paul guy. But you know, my poor father'd roll over in the grave if I ever denied my Chicago roots.
Yeah, I mean, people claim me as Minnesotan if they agree with me, and they dismiss me as a Chicagoan if they don't. Yeah, they're all right. I don't know what to say. Like, yeah,
I wouldn't argue with that.
Bill Collins is here, Alary's Kitchen and Bar in downtown St. Paul. You still have, as part of this, part of the new menu, and you have all the walleye items on there, but you've got some Chicago-style items on here, too. You got a beef and you got a dog, right?
Yep, absolutely.
What do you do if someone comes in and asks for ketchup?
Well, it's a little different because the ketchup's on the table, but it doesn't get served on the dog coming out of the kitchen.
Like, Dan, I think, are you a ketchup on a hot dog?
Oh,
Dan?
no.
No. Okay.
So when I was 12 years old, I got my first restaurant job at Johnny's Italian Beef and Hot Dog Stand, 7500 West North Avenue. If you're from Chicago, you know
Yes,
Johnny's.
legendary.
I literally stood on a milk crate to wash the dishes in that place. And just, again, for the sake of Johnny, I just couldn't put put ketchup on a hot dog.
Bill Collins is with us. Bill, you know, you made a choice to invest in downtown St. Paul. And I think right now a lot of people are looking at downtown Minneapolis. They're looking at downtown St. Paul and saying, it feels like there's a little more energy in downtown St. Paul right now. Now, to a certain degree, downtown St. Paul had farther to fall, and it's got farther to climb. It is, as far as an active workplace, it's not. All
Right.
those city and county workers and state workers that are not coming to the office, it can make downtown feel empty. I feel some energy, some progress going in the right direction. But why did you make the choice to invest in downtown?
Well, we've been down there for a long time and are believers in it is the more attractive city. It's, I love the comparison.
I like it. That's a St. Paul guy right there.
You know, it's the last of the great cities of the East. Minneapolis is the first of the great cities of the West. And I'm a traditionalist. I like old school. I like the history you have in downtown St. Paul. And the bones are great. I think there's great opportunity for residential development to continue to expand. You and I were in an event last week where they announced there's $1 billion being pumped into downtown St. Paul. And if you don't think that St. Paul's on the come, you better open up your eyes because it's happening in St. Paul. And there's the people, the movers and the shakers are all on the same page. And it's really exciting what's happening.
Kids menu, so bring the family. There is free parking over there, and you still have people know your shuttles for sure going to big events at the Axe.
Yeah, right. GCA.
I've been pretty good at it, but it's hard to get it right at the Grand Casino Arena. So that's still part of the equation. For
Absolutely. Yep. All the East Metro professional stuff, United games, and the concerts down on Harriet Island. You park free at Alary's. We've got 3 shuttles that are taking people all over town all the time.
What is your favorite St. Paul restaurant besides your own?
Well, this is a little tough because we just lost the wood fire. Mo, longtime friend.
Yeah.
15 years, every Saturday morning, breakfast there. Just incredible.
That surprised
breakfast.
me. I get it. Like, he wants to retire, but
Yeah.
that space was doing pretty well, I think.
It was never not busy.
Yeah.
And so losing that was, a bummer. But my favorite lunch spot, the Groveland Tap,
Oh,
those guys knock it out. Their food's tremendous. Great menu. Really great staff. Red Cow's another favorite. Luke Shemp is a genius.
Yeah. I think every restaurant owner wishes they could have cracked the code the way
Oh.
Luke has.
Yeah.
It's been pretty good.
W.A. Frost Patio. Boy, if you haven't been there, put it on your bucket list.
I had lunch at Cafe Latte today.
Oh, yeah. That's, man, talk about an institution. That's got to be 45 years.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Bill, I can't wait to check out the new menu.
I can't wait for you to check out the new menu. I can't wait for everybody to check out the new menu.
Absolutely.
We got 1,000 parking spaces. Don't hesitate.
Bill Collins from ALARY'S. Thanks, Bill. Appreciate it.
Thank you for your time, and look forward to seeing everybody at ALARY'S.
Sounds good. DeRusha Eats brought to you by the Minnesota Pork Board. Back in just a minute with a bit of a failure on my part for my wife's birthday that is coming up on Friday. Maybe you guys can help. We'll talk about it next.
Drive Time with DeRusha is fueled by Luther Kia of Bloomington. Always online at lutherkiaofbloomington.com.
Do you know what you're having for dinner tonight? If you're not going to ALARY'S, go to your grocery store and your butcher shop and let's get Minnesota pork for dinner. It's Jason for our friends at the Minnesota Pork Board. Now, look, there's Minnesota pork on the menu at ALARY'S and most of your great restaurants. You get pork carnitas. Oh, yeah. Pork carnitas tacos. That sounds delicious, doesn't it? Why not? Minnesota pork, when I think summer, I think grilling season, I think pork. Nothing better than a bone-in pork chop, maybe a pork tenderloin. That pork shoulder. You know, I say nothing better, and then I list 4 things. So maybe, I don't know. It's all good. It's lean. It's high in protein. It's affordable, too. You go to your grocery store and you see the prices on some of the other proteins right now. You want to save a buck? Think about ground pork. Think about working that in for tacos or for burgers or whatever the case may be. If you need recipe inspiration, we've got it for you. TasteWhatPorkCanDo.com. That is the website where you can sort recipes by cooking type, by the amount of time, by the type of pork you have in your refrigerator. But get to TasteWhatPorkCanDo.com and let's have Minnesota pork for dinner tonight. Oh, yeah.